Ladies and gentlemen, I am Vivek, Sergeant at Arms from District 70. I welcome you all to Concord West Toastmasters Club. We have a simple rule in this meeting to keep the phone on silent mode if you haven't already, so that we can enjoy the meeting in a good way. So we have a theme today, and that's holidays around the world. And for our meeting, it's summer holidays. So put on a good smile, relax, sit back, put on a hat or sunglasses and enjoy the meeting. With that, I would like to invite Harini, our president, to take over the meeting. Harini, over to you.
Thanks, Vivek. Konnichiwa. Subarasi. Seishon dista.
Arigato.
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 Zain gasta.
Arigato.
Good day, mate. Welcome to Australia. How are we all today? I hope you're all doing well. Even though I can't see you all, I can feel and I can sense your enthusiastic presence. On behalf of District 70 and Concord West Toastmasters, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all our fellow Toastmasters and guests from around the world to join us in Australian summer holidays. Guys, make sure you have a hat, a sunscreen, and a bottle of water. And stay hydrated because you're going to be with us for the next 2 hours. Before we commence our sightseeing, I would like to just acknowledge our District Director, Lorinda Loharaj, and all our dignitaries have joined in this meeting. I hope you will sit back, relax, and enjoy our meeting. Please join me in welcoming our chairman, Mr. Glenn Hobbs, who will conduct the rest of the meeting. Over to you, Glenn. Please proceed. Happy holidays.
Glenn, you need to unmute. Glenn, just start again. Just unmute. All right, we can hear you now, Glenn. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. G'day and good to see you all. I'm sort of sitting here sweltering in the heat, and some of you possibly are experiencing the cold, but it's great that we can come together and enjoy 2 hours together in an Australian environment. Terrific. If I can encourage you all as the observers to turn off your video and to mute yourself while the Australian Club runs us through some activities. And to start with the word of the day, I'm going to ask Carol Tran to give us the word of the day, which we hope to use throughout the meeting. Over to you, Carol.
Thank you, Chairman Glenn. Summer holidays is our theme, and I think whether it's a summer holiday or a winter holiday, festive is a good way to describe these kind of events. So the word of the day is festive, which means joyous or merry. It can be an adjective such as it was a festive evening full of laughter and smiles, or it can be an adverb, festively, such as Monroe danced festively to impress the woman in red. I will be keeping track of who uses the word of the day, as well as any imaginative, funny, and clever uses of language. Thank you. Back to you, Chairman.
Thank you, Carol. And now for us to hear the mission of the club, can I ask Anne Sunny to read us the mission of the club? Over to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chairman. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Thank you.
Thanks, Anne. Great. So let's look at our agenda and just check on any updates. So it's over to Lana for that, and Lana's in a very much festive mood there with the sun hat on. So Lana, over to you for the agenda update.
Thank you very much, Glenn. As far as I see it, we do not need any last-minute replacements. Everyone on the agenda is here. I would just like to extend my own welcome to everyone and just briefly ask that everyone really pay attention to the contents of the meeting. At a later point in the meeting, we will be doing a listening game. And there will be, you know, virtual prizes. Our own admiration probably is the prize. But if everyone can be ready for that, we'd really appreciate it. Back to you, Glenn.
Thanks, Lana. Well, now one of the key aspects of Toastmasters is speaking, public speaking, and Kate Crosby's our Toastmaster for this segment. We've got a number of speeches, and Kate's going to take us through that. I think she's on site or at the beach. She should be in her office, I think. So over to you, Kate. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And as Glenn said, we're going to be enthralled and definitely entertained by the speakers that we've got giving speeches this afternoon here in Australia, but we're not sure what time it is in the rest of the world. So welcome to you all. Now, our first speaker, we've got 3 speakers, as I said, and I'd like to introduce the first speaker, who's going to be speaking from her pathway, which is the Motivational Strategies pathway, and she's already completed 2 levels and is on her 3rd level. Our speaker is Rachel Lawson, and a little bit of a background on her is that she's a guest here today giving a speech, and she comes from the Wollongong area. She has been in Toastmasters since 2018, and her passions are, well, she's a librarian, so she probably reads a lot and loves books a lot, but she also has a young child and also a cat and a dog that she tends to adjudicate quite well, from what I understand. Rachel's evaluator is Alex Thomas, and her speech will go for 5 to 7 minutes. Green will be on 5, amber on 6, and red on 7. Let me introduce Rachel Lawson. Alex Thomas, would you mind reading the purpose statement of Rachel's speech, please?
The purpose of Rachel's speech for this project is for the member to deliver a speech with awareness of intentional and unintentional body language, as well as to learn, practice, and refine how she uses nonverbal communication when delivering a speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. So without any other further ado, let's introduce Rachel with her speech title, Joe and Flo Come to Christmas. Joe and Flo come for Christmas. Rachel Lawson.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Christmas in Australia is a very hot and steamy affair. No, literally, it's a very hot and steamy place to live at Christmas. As an Australian child growing up in Christmas, we were always very lightly dressed and put in front of the TV. We were also placed in front of fans if we were not lucky enough to have air conditioning. And at this point, we would have to sit in front of the fan and watch North American children wear things like sweaters. And I said to my mum, "Mum, what's a sweater?" And my mum said, "Rachel, that's that woolly jumper thing we make you wear in August for a couple of days." In Australia, we don't wear sweaters at Christmas. We just sweat a lot. Swimming pools. You might think if you live in the north or in a cold country that a swimming pool is a luxury. It isn't. It's a necessity. In fact, if you live in Australia, in Queensland, you must have a swimming pool. And if you are not lucky enough to have a swimming pool in Brackenridge, in Brisbane, you must make friends with someone who does. And you must go to their house at Christmas and enjoy this necessity, even if you don't like them. Now, if you are the lucky person to have a swimming pool at Christmas, it's very un-Australian and not very Christmassy to not have your unexpected guests drop in. Another thing about Australian Christmases is what's the deal with the pumpkin? Have you ever tried to buy a pumpkin in October or November or December in Australia? They're priced at about the same price point as a lobster. If you want to enjoy a pumpkin in Australia for a holiday season, I would suggest Easter or Anzac Day. And in fact, one particular delicious treat that we often share in Australia is Flo Bjelke-Petersen's pumpkin scone. Now, for those of you who don't know who Joe and Flo are, Joe Bjelke-Petersen was the wife of Queensland's Premier, or in other words, the governor of the state in the 80s. They were a bit of a power couple. And for us, we really, really enjoyed Joe and Flo's pumpkin scones. I'll put the recipe in the chat. This particular year though, talking about unexpected guests in Queensland and at Christmas, Australians have to deal with lots of unexpected guests. We have to deal with the spiders, the Christmas beetles, and of course, the cane toads. You think cane toads? Just picture this. A cane toad is like a frog and a toad and Jabba the Hutt, all mushed into one. And these beautiful cane toady froggy things infest your backyard in Australia at Christmas. It just happens. It's one of these things. This particular year though, my brother came out at about 9:30 at night to have another dip in the swimming pool. That's particularly normal for Australian children to swim at night in swimming pools at Christmas. It's the only thing you can really do other than eat cubed cheese and chopped up cabanossi and other weird treats like prawns. No one really has a hot dinner. You might if your grandmother talks you through it. The other thing we have to do though is my poor brother that day walks out to have a swimming pool, a quick little swim in his pool at 9:30 at night, only to find all of the backyard shimmering with cane toads. No joke, cane toads, these huge bestial creatures just flopping everywhere. And he couldn't understand it. There were literally about 100. If you've ever seen cane toads, I say just get in there and Google it. I won't shock you now, it's too disgusting. Just imagine hundreds of little Jabba the Hutts running around everywhere. The things are as big as a house cat. They really are. They're huge, they're loud, and they're disgusting. And this year, our two particular favourite toads, Joe and Flo, as we like to call them, because they were Queensland's premier power couple, indeed had the backyard to themselves and then invited 100 guests. And poor Joe, the male cane toad, was sitting in our swimming pool. Where was Flo? Well, Flo had gone over the fence into next door neighbours, Brad and Charlene's spa. Now, spa is also a necessity. Northern Europeans and Northern Americans, you might call it a jacuzzi or a hot tub. It's also a necessity in Australia, in Queensland, in summer. Where else are you going to have a disco and your cocktails while still staying in a swimming pool? You have to have a spa. The other thing we noticed with Joe and Flo was that Flo was in the party pond, as the cane toads like to call it, and Joe was in our swimming pool. How could the two meet? My brother said, this is too noisy. I can't sleep with all these cane toads. I have an idea, which he did. He went into the garage and he came back out with a bag of golf clubs. Picture this, golf clubs, 12-year-old boy, 100 cane toads. Again, 100 cane toads, golf clubs, 12-year-old boy. What could you do? What do you think was going to happen? My brother pulls out the 9-iron. The 9-iron. If you don't get golf, it's one of those things from Game of Thrones. And my mother comes out and goes, oh, Mark, that's horrible. You can't do that to the cane toads. He had every idea of getting 100 golf swings in before he went to bed. My mother said, that's so cruel. Don't use a 9-iron. Where's a wedge? And at that point, my brother said, great idea, Mum. And he pulled out a wedge and he said, awesome, I'm going to use that wedge. So he did. And he got the wedge and he got Joe on top of the wedge and he swung that wedge around so hard that it was like a bull roarer or some sort of weird shot put. And poor Joe the cane toad flew over the fence into the next door neighbour's spa. And Joe and Flo were reunited. And then the other 100 little guests went and visited Brad and Charlene's house. And we all had a lovely, lovely sleep. Thank you. Back to Toastmaster.
Thank you, Rachel. I hope that has provided a little bit of a background to some of the nasties that we have in Australia, but not too many. Please, once COVID's over, that's the big nasty, come on over. And now our second speaker is Peter Crosby, and he's got a little bit of a background that I'd like to share with you. He's been a Toastmaster for quite a while, joined in 2006, and he achieved his DTM in 2017. Peter took on a major role in 2017 and to 2018 when he was the district director for District 70. Over the last 12 months, Peter's embraced membership, which is a really important part of Toastmasters. In our club, Peter is coordinating the mentorship program. He has mentors outside of Toastmasters as well, and who are helping him with his personal development and building an independent business. I'd like to ask Peter's evaluator, Philip Bendai, to please read the purpose statement for Peter's speech.
Well, thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and welcome aboard, all you sailors. The purposes of Peter's speech is for the member to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback and apply the feedback to a second speech, and for the member to demonstrate that he has applied the feedback received from his first speech.
Thank you, Philip, for that purpose statement. Peter's speech comes from the Pathway Motivational Strategies, and he's doing level 113. Peter Crosby with his speech, Stepping Stones to Success. Stepping Stones to Success, Peter Crosby.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. The most successful holiday I ever went on was on board a ship, this ship. There you can see it leaving Sydney Harbour. That was 45 years ago. I'll return to the SS Sobinov a little bit later. But what is success? When I was younger, success for me meant one thing: academic achievement. Sounds boring. But I was dux with my school. I had first-class honours at university. But after that, in hindsight, my life was fairly mediocre. I had a fairly mediocre house, fairly mediocre job, fairly mediocre car. My life was fairly mediocre. But then, over time, things graduated more to being successful. I was getting promoted to more interesting work. I went on more interesting holidays. I met more interesting people. I was taking on leadership roles. Instead of being a member of a club, I was starting to become the president of a club. And in Toastmasters, progressed in Toastmasters. I've now been married for 40 years, which is a success in my mind. And also, we have 3 amazing adult children and 6 fantastic grandchildren who really inspire me. They give me great joy. Christopher Morley said, to be a successful life means that you can do what you choose to do. And I think that's a good indication of whether your life is successful. On that cruise I mentioned, the reason it was so successful was I met this person. And in the words of Denanjaya Hethiarachi, She saw something in me, but she didn't know what it was. Success, my mentor says, success begins with a dream. And success is a compelling awareness of what could or should be in your life, together with a realization that you need to do something about it. You need to take action. So my first stepping stone to success is have a dream. Well, how do you activate your success? Well, I like to move towards success with daily habits. Daily habits. Now, in this festive season that we're coming up to, when I reflect on it, there was a 20-year period where I actually put on 20 kilograms of weight. And I can put that down to the Australian Christmas festive seasons. Now, every Christmas, Australian Christmas, we have lots to eat and lots to drink. In my case, I did it twice a year. So I have the Australian Christmas, and then I'd celebrate Russian Orthodox Christmas with my wife's family, where they had way too much to eat and way too much to drink. So with about 15 years ago, I was told, Peter, you need to lose weight or you are going to have serious problems. So finally, about 6 years ago, with the help of a wonderful dietitian, I adopted some daily habits, things like having the right amount of the right type of food at the right time of day, and measuring my weight, measuring my blood pressure, getting exercise on a regular basis, and taking my medication, supplements, vitamins, meditation. All these things help, but doing them on a daily basis is what actually helped the most. So my second stepping stone to success is consistent daily habits. And since that time, I've dropped 12 kilograms consistently lower than I was 6 years ago. Well, having spoken about success, I'd now like to talk about failure. Now, the opposite of success is not failure, it's quitting. Quitting is like not even starting. If you give up, you might as well not have started. In my case, my mediocrity, if you like, was, in a sense, giving up on my dream. I didn't have big enough dreams. But failure is like stepping stones, milestones, gateways on your journey to success. Abraham Lincoln said, the formula to success is to try until you succeed. And the Australian winemaker, Wolf Blass, said even better. He said, I always failed positively again and again and again until I succeeded. So the main thing with failure is to learn the lessons from failure. So learning lessons proves that you're moving forward. So my third stepping stone to success is to learn from your failures. Well, what can take you away from success? Distractions. I had way too many distractions. I had doing too many things with family and work and sport, community, you name it. But now I only have two priorities, my family and prosperity. Prosperity for myself, prosperity for the people in my life, prosperity for future generations, and prosperity for the community in which I live. And travel for me is like a holiday with a purpose. It's not a distraction for me. I like spending time with my wife, Kate. I like to learn about other places and countries and cultures. And I love spending time in nature. So that's the purpose that I travel. And of course, the main distractions these days, there's so many of them: social media, negative people, too many priorities, like I mentioned, the news, and of course, the mobile phones. I mean, the mobile phones these days, they're like a distraction distillery. And sorry, I was just distracted. Where was it? Oh, yes. So the fourth distraction, the fourth stepping stone to success is to step away from your distractions and towards your destination. So summing up, we have the festive season coming up. So I'd encourage you to use the holidays to improve your chances of success. Stepping stone number one, Have your dreams, set your priorities, but no more than 3. Daily habits. Have daily habits that are gradually moving towards your destination, your goal. Learn from your failures, and step away from your distractions towards your destination. The final word goes to Winston Churchill when he said, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Madam Toastmaster, back to you.
Thank you, Peter. Now, if we haven't learned something to make us successful, we haven't been listening carefully. Thank you so much, Peter. Now, our final speaker tonight, or this afternoon, is Harini Sundaramurthy. Now, Harini's background is as follows. She joined Toastmasters in 2014 to improve her ability to deliver more memorable presentations, as is probably what we all want to do, and also to inspire others. She is incredibly passionate about mentoring others and greatly enjoys helping her peers to unlock their talents and improve their overall public speaking skills. Harini loves cooking also, and of course with that Indian flavour. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Harini's evaluator, Sonia Dunker, to please read her purpose statement. Thank you, Sonia.
The purpose of this project is for the member to practice the skills needed to connect with an unfamiliar audience.
Thank you, Sonia. Now, Harini's speech is 5 to 7 minutes, and the timer will go with 5 green, amber 6, and red on 7. And Harini's speech is on the dynamic leadership pathway, and she is also up to level 3 in that pathway, connecting with your audience, which Sonia already mentioned. Harini Sundaramurthy, with her speech, "Why should I cook every day? Why should I cook every day?" Harini Sundaramurthy, let's welcome.
Thank you, Madam Toast. When you think of holidays or festive season, what pops up in your mind? 4-letter word, food, right? 100%. Food binds people together, whereas holidays binds people and food together. Ladies and gentlemen, who cooks at your place? I used to cook every single day because I have no choice. I'm a great cook, but I don't cook every single day now. Let me tell you a story. It was the dinner time last summer holiday. My table was filled with chicken curry, fish curry, dal makhani, raita, roti, and papadam. Now you guys guess where I'm from. Yay, good guess, good guess. Dinner is a time to sit back, relax, chit-chat, and eat. During dinner, all I heard was complaints. I have 2 children. My son, Sudi. "Mom, can you stop cooking this rice and curry every day? It's boring. Instead, can you make some pizza or even burger? I can't eat this boring curry every day." Then my daughter, Vaishu, she jumped in. "Stop craving junk food, bro. Mom, can you just make something different? I can't eat this crap every day." Gosh, hey guys, look at your dad. He never complains. He always enjoys my curries. Am I right, darling? He calmly revealed, that's what you think. Ouch! The whole family ganged up on me. And I was insulted. Rather stop cooking. I wanted to teach them a lesson. Can't mess with me. As I'm a Toastmaster, I love to hear constructive feedback, but not complaints. I was thinking, how can I fix these people? Ladies and gentlemen, back to my story. While we were eating, I asked them, guys, you should improve your communication skill. How to speak and how to give feedback. Come and join our Toastmaster. You should see the reaction. Oh my God, they shocked. Public speaking? No way. Instead of public speaking, we can do anything else. And I was waiting for this moment to come. I gave them only two choices. Speaking or cooking. Guess what they actually picked? Cooking. Let me tell you how I manipulated my children to get up and learn cooking. Wait and see. Just like our speech craft, I designed cooking craft at my place, 5 weeks program. My program consisted of 3 sessions. Session 1, challenge your taste buds. Challenge your taste buds. This is done just like our prepared speech. They can cook anything what they wanted to eat. They always refer the recipe from YouTube. So they cook and demonstrate in front of me. Second part, impromptu cooking. These were one of the nerve-wracking sessions. As I threw random ingredients on the table, they had to pick and cook something in 30 minutes. Impromptu cooking, pressure test. My third session, evaluation, test time. Whenever I got a chance to evaluate their dish, I always give positive sugar-coated feedback, even though the dish was terrible. Hang on. If I criticize them, then they will not come back to my kitchen again. My intention was to motivate them to become a great cook, just like me. As the days went by, they are pretty keen to pick up every cooking techniques and tricks. Once they mastered their cookery skills, they wanted to showcase. As I'm a chairperson of my family, I organized demo cooking, marathon, cooking marathon. The challenge was they had to cook 4 hours continuously to feed 30 people. That was the challenge. The day finally came. My backyard was crowded with the family and friends. I was a bit nervous how they gonna handle it. To my surprise, they nailed it. Unbelievable. You know what they made? Aussie holiday menu. Meat pies, barbecue chicken, sausage rolls, lamb shank, potato mash, and chocolate pudding for dessert. The presentation was stunning. The color, the taste, the flavor, awesome. I was very impressed with their hidden talents. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, I used to cook every single day, but not many more, as I trained my children to take care of my kitchen. Since then, no complaints during dinner. I want to tell you one thing. Toastmaster skills can be used and develop, create any champions in any field. Now I'm so excited to see what they gonna make this holiday. Back to Madam Chair.
Thank you, Harini. I can see your festive season is already underway. You started manipulating your children, but now they are motivated to cook for Christmas and beyond. Well done. All right. Now, the next part of this session, of course, is our very important evaluations that we all can learn from. We have some quite experienced evaluators that are evaluating our speakers this afternoon. So I'd like to ask Alex Thomas if he would, if he's ready to evaluate Rachel Lawson's speech. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kate. It's been my privilege today, this afternoon, to evaluate Rachel Lawson's speech on Joe and Flo Come for Christmas. Christmas in Australia is unbelievable, indescribable, and something that is totally different from the rest of the world. And Rachel really showed us that in the way in which she presented her speech and the word pictures that she painted. The introduction was absolutely something to listen to because it talked about Christmas with a difference. And it went on to explain to us what happens during Christmas in Australia. The difference in anything can only be known when the explanation is given about what the differences are, and which is what Rachel proceeded to do. She used word pictures and different aspects of the Christmas and its mode of celebration to let us know how Christmas in Australia is totally different. To begin with, it is hot. I guess it is difficult to explain to you how hot it is until you really are here and you feel it, even as I'm feeling it right now. It is sweaty. Yes, I'm just wearing a shirt, but normally I would put on a kind of a t-shirt or even like a singlet. And the description tells you exactly what the weather is and the mode of things that we go through. We are searching during Christmas for a cool place, for a fan, or something that will keep us a little cooled down. Otherwise, things can go pretty different. Rachel showed us all this and gave us more word pictures as she talked about the swimming pool. Not a luxury, but a necessity. And she went on to tell us about a spa, not just something that we kind of think, but it is something that everyone looks forward to. Good friends are people who have a swimming pool and a spa. Well, she went on to tell us of the guests, and she explained to us about Joe and Flo. Yes, the power couple who lived in Queensland, but we had a new power couple coming to this particular Christmas to Rachel. It was cane toads. As Rachel proceeded with the speech, I was wondering how much of our audience that is listening could understand some of the words and some of the terminology. We know where is Queensland. It's just north of this place, but do you know where is Queensland? Perhaps that's one of the things that has to be tempered in the speech, of the terminology that is used and the explanations that really need to come to help the audience understand. I enjoyed Rachel, but I was kind of saying, oh, don't let the excitement get you, because you just need to pause a little bit, because we need to catch our breath and catch up with you to understand Christmas in Australia. But still, it is something that we can understand and enjoy, because it is exactly what Rachel communicated to us through her gestures, through the hands and the whole movement that came along, and a hair that came in between that told us of the excitement she was projecting for us. Good, fun, and the ideas that came that told us this Christmas is worth really listening. It was absolute fun. And Rachel, you communicated that well through us, through your body language and through that verbal communication and the non-verbal communication. Thank you very much. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Alex. Not only has Rachel learned something from her speech, but we've certainly learned a few techniques as well through your evaluation. Peter's speech was evaluated by Philip Bendai, and Philip, I hope you're ready to give us your evaluation on Peter's speech. Thank you.
Kate, could you just confirm, can you hear me and see me okay?
All good.
Thank you.
Good, Philip.
Thank you. Well, Toastmasters in Concord West and around the world, welcome to Sydney Harbour. I'm currently sitting on board in Mossman Bay. It's beautiful here. And as you can see, got the hat, got the T-shirt, and got the connections, luckily, to Peter's speech. A couple of sessions ago when I evaluated this speech for Peter, I gave him a couple of things to consider, and I'm pleased to say that he took those on board. And that was specifically the requirement for this speech, to take on feedback, incorporate the feedback, and develop a better speech. And I want to congratulate Peter, because that is exactly what I found today. Peter had a great deal of animation, he had a great deal of facial expression, and in doing so, he added the feelings and emotions that I would expect to see from this particular speech. Specifically, I want to congratulate Peter on the way that he used the camera. I had a bit of a feeling that he had some notes nearby, but that didn't really distract from his connection with the audience through the camera of his computer and into our ears and senses. Peter used excellent facial expressions, because when he talks about success, he was smiling, and perhaps he had a change of facial expression when he went to talk about the failures that you obviously catch along the way. And the inclusion of these failures or reference to them is one other aspect that I mentioned to Peter. It's all very well talking about success, but you don't know success until such time as you have felt or reacted to or lived through failure. And in adding those comments and items that he did, I think that really enhanced this particular speech. When Peter was talking about, he also used some nice vocal variety when he was referring to various quotes, Winston Churchill, Abraham Lincoln and the like. And I sometimes wonder, what is the purpose of doing those voices? Is it just sufficient to just say in the words of Abraham Lincoln and say them as you normally would, or would you try and put a bit of an accent there? I'm a bit undetermined as to whether which way is best, but I think it's also worth a try for a speech such as this. So Peter and fellow Toastmasters around the world, in summary, I just want to congratulate Peter for obviously incorporating some of the parts of the evaluation that he was presented a few sessions ago. He continues to develop his animation through connection with the camera and the audience as a result of his comfortableness in front of that. And I wish to congratulate him on a valuable and an inspirational presentation on success. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Philip. And as I said, you're a very experienced evaluator, and we've certainly gained some nuggets from your evaluation. Thank you. Our third speaker was Harini Sundaramurthy, and her evaluator is Sonia Dunker. Sonia, I'd like you to present your evaluation on Harini's speech, please.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. It's always a pleasure to hear Harini speak. And once again, Harini's creativity managed to give us a story that her entire audience could relate to, who can't relate to cooking, right? Harini started off really strong and confident, and that was really evident in the way that she was sitting in front of the camera.
Sonia, we've lost your sound.
Do I need to start again? Sorry.
No, you're right to go. We've got you back again. Sorry about that.
Okay, sorry, someone, okay. It was really evident with her posture, her hand gestures, and her movement on the screen. She used a variety of vocal tones, and I really enjoyed her describing the way her son spoke to her with an attitude. So that was fantastic. Well done. Harini followed the correct speech format. She used a really clear opening and a very structured and robust middle. And the ending gave us an idea of how we can all use the same technique with our own children. I liked Harini's sense of humor. The story was very relatable. Who doesn't have children who think that they're too cool for school, and who at least can't cook at least once a day in between Uber Eats, right? I also thoroughly enjoyed Harini's creativity to influence and negotiate her cooking with her children while sneaking in a few Toastmaster skills. As a challenge, I would say, Harini, maybe incorporate grammarian of the day. Get your children to use some culinary phrases or words in between the cooking and when they're presenting the dish back to you. Even try giving them a shorter time challenge. See if they can practice being on time. You know, we all have to practice and be on time. So what can they cook in 10 minutes or maybe in 12 minutes and maybe even 2 minutes? Get creative by cooking an egg. You know, how creative can you be with an egg, right? And what a way to describe impromptu speaking. I mean, it's a real pressure cooker. When you hear your name, you go, oh my goodness, I can't believe I just got picked. And you've got to come up with a 2 to 3 minute speech on a topic you've never heard. But you know what? You described it really, really well. And they're getting prepared for that, right? So overall, Harini gave a great speech. I thoroughly enjoyed hearing about how Toastmasters can be used to reinforce positive cooking. And you know what? We all love Indian cooking. And Harini, I can't wait to come into your kitchen. Thank you for a wonderful speech. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Sonia, for a really detailed evaluation on Harini. I'm sure we can all learn a bit there as well. That actually concludes my assignment for this afternoon. So I'd like to pass the time back to our able chairman, Mr. Glenn Hobbs. Over to you, Glenn.
Thank you, Kate. And I must admit, I'm feeling a little seasick after one of those evaluations, the one by Philip Bendai on the boat. It was a little difficult to watch the screen moving up and down as he was speaking, but great. It was a great session with those three speakers, and it really highlights the value of Toastmasters is to be able to take us to a different country, or we can experience something different. Experiencing summer in Australia with cave toads, or being taught about success and motivation, or hearing about an Indian mother and the issues of cooking in Australia. So a great time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it really does highlight one of the strengths of Toastmasters. So now, just before we go to our break, we've got a session on little known facts that's been prepared by Mario. So Mario, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to share some facts and some fun facts about Australia in our Did You Know segment. So Australia became a nation from 6 separate governing bodies in 1901. And did you know in Australia we celebrate Christmas, Easter, and some other festive holidays that we celebrate include Australia Day, Labor Day, and Anzac Day. So Australia's a big country. And did you know that Australia is the only continent covered by a single country? It is also the flattest country on Earth, but it's also the largest island on Earth. 90% of Australians actually live within 100 kilometres of the coast due to the majority of the interior being a vast desert. The Great Victorian Desert is just one of Australia's barren areas, larger than the United Kingdom. You could actually lose an entire country in Australia and not even know it. And while our country is huge, our population is only 25.5 million. And the Great Barrier Reef is regarded as one of the world's largest living organisms, and is often listed as one of the 7 wonders of the natural world. Australia has an area that is covered by snow in winter that is larger than the area of Switzerland. So the Australian Alps actually get more snow than the Swiss Alps. Did you know that the kangaroo and emu also chosen to be the 2 animals on the Australian coat of arms because they can't walk backwards? That's reflecting our forward-thinking culture. And the only 2 mammals in the world that lay eggs are found in Australia, and they are the platypus and the echidna. In Australia, our most popular sports that we enjoy are cricket, rugby, rugby league, Australian rules football, and soccer or football. So Australia also has 60 separate wine regions in which we produce 1.3 billion litres of wine annually. And did you know that the Australian dingo fence is longer than the Great Wall of China? And Australia is the only continent in the world that doesn't have a volcano. While mining is one of Australia's largest industries, more land is covered by pubs than wines. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mario. There's some fascinating facts, and certainly didn't realise that we had more pubs in area than we had in mining, which is something of a concern. And as for the dingo fence and the Chinese wall, that's something separate. I understand the Chinese wall is to keep the rabbits out from migrating across China. Is that correct? Anyway, moving on, we're going to take a 5-minute break. And can I ask you when we come back after that 5 minutes to do a few things? One, to have your phone or tablet ready for a session we'll have, a competition session around the world, which Lana's going to be presenting. So please have a phone or tablet ready that can access the internet. Secondly, we'll be having a toast after our session. So please have something ready that you can, a drink that you can toast when Vivek leads us in that toast in a few minutes. During the 5-minute break, we're going to have a bit of a slideshow presentation of some Australiana. So that's going to be going on for that 5 minutes. So we're coming back in 5 minutes' time, and that'll be just on 5 to 2 here in Australia, in the Eastern Standard Time in Australia, but that'll be, so be 5 to the hour for wherever you are around the world. So if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, it'll be 5 to 3 o'clock in the morning. So we're looking forward to seeing you in 5 minutes' time. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second part of Concord West Toastmasters Club meeting. So this is the second part where we enter into fun-filled activities and sessions. This is exciting yet a learning experience. With that, I would like to invite Glenn, our chairman, to take over with the second part. Glenn, over to you.
Thank you, Vivek. And can I remind everybody the word of the day, or the grammarian suggested, is festive. So please try and use that as we work through this next session, the next 3/4 of an hour or so. So Vivek is going to lead us in a toast. So over to Vivek for our toast. And make sure you all got a glass or something that you can toast with. Over to Vivek. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. So I would like to raise a toast to health and freedom. This year has been an abnormal year, and it raised concerns for most of us. Secondly, freedom has been elusive for most of us as we persevered under coronavirus threat. We remained in our homes and we could not do anything. But with summer holidays around the corner in Australia, which last for about 1 month, starting from mid of December to mid of January, we are looking forward to the renewed freedom to meet our loved ones. It's to enjoy the long-awaited break, to hit the beach, put on the hat and enjoy in the summer holidays. Freedom to enjoy shopping and welcome the new year with a hope that there is no fear from coronavirus. This holiday is going to be different, but I hope that it's going to be a helpful and provide freedom to all of us. With that, I would like to raise toast to our health and freedom.
To our health and
Freedom.
Health and freedom.
Health and freedom.
Back to you, Glenn.
I make ship happen.
Thank you. Thank you, Vivek, for that toast. Very appropriate at this time of the year. We're moving now to the table topic session. And I always see this as, in a way, it's certainly the most stressful time of the meeting. And I sort of think, in a way, you're working with live ammunition. You never know what you're going to get thrown, and you've got to take it and run with it for a minute or so. So moving over to our table topics master in the armoury, that's John Hewson. Over to you, John.
Thank you, Chairman Glenn. Thank you very much, and welcome everybody. Well, this is about extemporaneous speaking, impromptu speaking, or speaking off the cuff. It's that elevator statement that we need when our boss gets into the lift and says, so how's that project going? And you've got to get the cogs working. You've got to be able to put it into a structure. You've got to make sense. You've got to keep on topic. And of course, you've got to be either entertaining or inspirational. So tonight, we're going to be dealing with a number of speakers, and we have 2 evaluators. The evaluator for our even-numbered speakers is Michael Fenton. Michael, you're ready. And our odd-numbered speakers, Louise Beaton. Louise, are you all ready? Excellent. Now, as the members of the club pinned the timer, and so that we can see what the time is, because finding her on the screen might be a bit difficult, so make sure you've got the time in front of you, because the timing is critical. We have green on 30 seconds. We have amber on 45 seconds. And we have red on 60 seconds. And when the red light comes on, wrap it up and finish up. So, speakers, pin the timer, and I will ask the question twice, and I will announce a member's name. And at that point, as soon as you hear your name, please unmute. And when you have finished, re-mute your window. So, are we all ready for the scary ammunition? Question number 1. Do you have a favourite place to visit during the Aussie summer? Do you have a favourite place to visit during the Aussie summer? Alex Lee. Please welcome Alex.
Thank you, Table Topics Master. The favorite place to visit is that it's called the South Coast in Australia. It's about 1.5 to 2 hours drive down from Sydney going southward. So it's all beachside. And my best memory, it's not all the best memories, but I had some memories that I do remember, that I was bitten by a bull ant that is it's really red, and if you bite them, if they bite you on the finger or your toe, you're gonna be, it's like if you like a bee stinging you on you, and the pain is so great that you cannot sleep for the whole night, and you have to put tiger balm 10 times and it still won't fix, and it will only get better after 14 days. And although it was a painful experience, it is one of the memorable experience, because after that, we didn't go to South Coast that many times because of the painful memory. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex. Yes, those bull ants, they're pretty nasty. Our second speaker will be addressing what do you dislike most about summer in Australia? What do you dislike most about summer in Australia? Angela Zhang, please welcome Angela.
Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you guys all enjoy this special summer festival party. I treat it like a good improvement for everyone, especially for myself. Talking about it, I think the most worst thing happened is like humid weather. Normally, I don't like the air quality is too wet because it's painful, and I cannot stop taking baths or jumping into the pool. So compared to my hometown, so Australia in the summer is fantastic. You got plenty of the beach, island, forest, bushwalking. I like it. I enjoy very much. But the weather sometimes I think is a bit tricky, especially even like 50 degrees in summertime. You know, 3 weeks ago, the weekends, it's pretty hot. The everyone complain, oh, even the road, because the strong sunshine damaged the road traffic location. I think that's horrible to bear. But anyway, in January, I think the whole summer, I enjoy very much. So I wouldn't mind a little bit small thing is happening, like extremely humid weather. But it's only a couple of days, so it can be bearable. And I really appreciate that we can enjoy the sunshine, the beach, and the lovely weather, actually, most of the time. So that's my impression about Australia. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Yes, it has been warm here in the last couple of days. Question number 3. What is your favourite pastime during an Aussie summer? What is your favourite pastime during an Aussie summer? Raul. Please welcome Raul.
Thank you, Table Topic Master. My favorite pastime during summer is sitting near the river. That's what I enjoy the most. It doesn't mean I'm a bad swimmer because I don't like to spend more time with the sea. But I think, to me, I connect with the river most because it provides for us. That's where the connection is coming from. All the greenery, food, pastures. It's so lovely to see those things, you know, and sleeping near the river on my mat. It's something out of the world. The feeling is totally different. I'm into a different world altogether. Listening to those chirpings of the birds and the quietness, the tranquility, it can't be described in words for me. And I love to read book around that time. And also if I have a coffee handy, that would be really good. That makes it really enjoyable for me. So a river, when I first learned swimming, it was in the river. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I like it so much and spend time, just near the river. So that's the favorite pastime for me. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Hani. That sounds very chilled out, very cool thing to do, and like the get-up. Question number 4. What are you looking forward to doing in your first ever Aussie summer? What are you looking forward to doing in your first ever Aussie summer? Hani, please welcome Hani.
Okay, thank you, Table Topic Master. My first destination would be Tasmania. I really don't know about Tasmania, but I think it's good for me to see Tasmania. So I hear that there's a lot of breathtaking views. There's a lot of stunning landscaping. Just I want to get there with my family to see the beautiful things of Tasmania. I think the holiday would be a good time for me to get away from the normal crush of the daily routine. It would be a good time for me to relax and just to wind down. Really, I think it will be perfect to get back to the simpler of my life. And that's why I think Tasmania, it would be a good of things for me to discover. Thank you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Hani. Yes, a lot of people head south to Tasmania during the summer to get away from the extreme heat, and it's a very, very picturesque little part of Australia. Question number 5 for our evaluators. What is your favourite summer food in Australia? What is your favourite summer food in Australia? Carol Tran, please welcome Carol.
Thank you, Table Topics Master. What is my favorite food in summer? Well, it would have to be the good old barbecue in Australia during the festive season. And I think for several reasons. First of all, it's a great time for the family to gather around and to just kick back and enjoy some food. Second of all, the sausages on the barbecue are just so good. I could just smell it from ages away, and it's so delicious. I haven't even taken a bite yet, and I could already taste it in my mouth. And third of all, why sausages are the food I'm looking forward to is you can combine it with so many different sauces. You can use barbecue sauce, tomato sauce. I'm sure somebody is going to shout at me for this, but also maybe mayonnaise if you're feeling adventurous. So those are the reasons why a barbecue is what I'm most looking forward to. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Carol. Yes, I did a barbie last night and it was sausages on the menu. It was great. Some really interestingly flavoured sausages. Our next question, which is question number 6. Do you follow a summer sport in Australia? Do you follow a summer sport in Australia? Philip, are you able to come online?
Is that me, John?
Yes, it is. Philip, thank you.
Do I follow a summer sport? Well, for those of you who have been listening to me talk lately, you know that I've taken up sailing, and the hat and I'm the captain, I make ship happen. It's probably a good indication of what my summer sport's all about. I used to play cricket. I used to play football in the winter, but I got to start taking things a little bit more relaxed these days. So I would call one of the good things that you can do in Sydney is you can sail all year round. It's not just for summer. You can do it in autumn, spring, and of course winter. And we have a rule on board. only shorts are allowed, no long duds. So next time you come on, John and Peter, you've got to follow the rules, shorts only. So, yeah, sailing all the way. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you, and enjoy your day out there on the harbour. Question number 7. What would be your favourite summer holiday trip in Australia? What would be your favourite summer holiday trip in Australia? Catherine McClellan from District 70. Please welcome Catherine.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. My favourite trip in summer in Australia would be to the lounge. I don't have to worry about packing. I don't have to worry about buying a whole wardrobe of new clothes, although I could do that anyway. No, my lounge is my favourite place in the holidays in summer in Australia, because I've been so busy all year that I need time to relax. I guess if I was to venture anywhere, it would be to Sydney, because like Philip, I also like sailing. I started sailing many years ago on Sydney Harbour, and I love it. I always watch the Sydney to Hobart yacht race start on Boxing Day, and then I go back to my lounge. I'm very fortunate. I have a very comfortable lounge, and it will do me very well for these summer holidays. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine. And our final question, question number 8. Do you prefer the beach or the bush in summer? Do you prefer the beach or the bush in summer? Now I'm going to cross to one of our overseas club members for his impressions of what the beach or the bush might be. Please welcome Sean. Are you there, Sean?
Yeah,
in China.
Thank you, John.
There you are.
So, of course, I prefer to beach, and I will give my own reasons. First of all, is that so the beach is always close to a sea, so you can enjoy the sunrise and the sunset in the morning or in close to evening. And the second reason is that I love swimming very much. So if I can go to a beach, I prefer to swim with some of my friends, and it's also have a possibility to you can catch some fishes or some other small animals close to beach, which is very enjoyable. And the final reason is that I have one experience that I go to a beach and I stay there at very late and have a very festive evening with my friends. Have a BBQ with my friends and this at the beach. So it was very unforgettable, and I can't forget that night. So that's my 3 reasons for that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean. And thank you to all of our speakers. Very good responses and really pushing up the boundaries with your impromptu speaking. We now cross to our evaluators for their opinions and their input and their contributions to the speeches that we've heard. Please welcome our Evens evaluator, Michael Fenton. Please welcome Michael.
Thank you so very much, John. So today we got to hear, well, I heard 4 very great presentations. So first off with Angela, what do you dislike about summer? And to be honest, it's Australia. There's a lot to dislike about summer. It could be the fact that, you know, we decided last year was a good time to burn half the country. It could be because temperatures of 45 degrees Celsius is a thing. For those over in the US, that's about 110, I think. But Angela used a few good techniques that I want to talk about. So first off, she used a really good introduction to assist in developing that time to respond to the question. So she had a little bit of time to think about what am I about to say? Where are we about to go with this? And then be able to talk about that, talk about her views of the things she dislikes about summer. My one point for improvement was a little bit, It's something that I'm picking on a little bit lately as we're in a Zoom space. And let me see if I can get this right. And yes, I will talk from here. And you can see automatically, if I use hand gestures, it's cut off. So don't be afraid to take a little moment to think about your positioning, and that way you can get the best use of your hand gestures, being able to focus on the audience and get that message across. But again, Angela used a lot of good vocal variety, which helped convey that emotion. So things like words like the strong sunshine burning through. Yes, those sorts of things are really good to convey. Then we go over to Hani's presentation of what is he looking forward for his first ever Aussie summer. And again, really great descriptive language. The rolling hills of Tasmania, the getaway from the everyday crush. Awesome use of language. But my one point for improvement would be to take a little bit of time to pause, to think through your thoughts, because we heard a lot of really great thoughts, but they were really rushed together and we sort of didn't have enough time to take in those thoughts. Oh, that's a little, so don't be afraid to just take a little bit of time, talk about your thoughts, but take your time through that journey. And again, really great use of vocal variety to help enhance the speech, especially with that descriptive language, which helps convey that across really well. Then we go over to Philip with, does he follow a summer sport in Australia? And straight away, you can tell someone who is prepared for a presentation impromptu. So first off, really great introduction, and straight away, improv, use the props right there. We've got it in hand. But there's one thing I'm going to pick on Phil for today, and that would be his movement and gestures. And why do I say that? Is because he was statically positioned, sitting there, enjoying himself. He's got the boat, he's got the gentle rocking, but don't be afraid to use some of that movement to convey your message, especially when you come to think about the pacing of the language. Follow that nice, soft, steady pace that you can imagine with sailing. It just works so well. And think about some of the gestures you could use to enhance that rolling movement of sailing. So really well done there, Phil. And then, do you prefer the beach or the bush? Sean, well done. A really great introduction to frame your understanding of the question, because that's one thing that we always have difficulty with sometimes is, do we understand what we've been asked? And is what I'm about to say what the Tabletop Master is thinking? So framing that, using that framing to help explain, this is what I took away, and this is how my thoughts progress. Again, really great descriptive language. But again, there's one thing that I'm going to pick on, and I'm sure you've not understood. I'm sure you're all guessing what it is. It's that positioning. Do we need the big face or taking up the whole screen, and therefore all of our really great hand gestures have just been cut off? Or can we push ourselves just a little bit back, a little bit further back, so that we can get our hands moving, get the story across, focusing on our audience without being too intimidating? Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Michael. And now we go to Louise, who will be evaluating the even-numbered speakers. That's correct, isn't it? No, the odd-numbered speakers. I beg your pardon. Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you very
Louise.
much. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. It's my pleasure to evaluate. I'm going to also talk about the Table Topics Master and the odd speakers. John Hewson is an extremely polished and professional speaker, as you probably picked up already. And I might have just want to point out for you today how well he segues between the speakers. If ever you're a Toastmaster or doing Table Topics Toastmaster, learn from him. He has a comment that links every answer to the other, and it's very, very wonderful. It has been mentioned already. When John was leaning forward perhaps to look at the questions, we got quite a lot of his head on the screen. So I just want to encourage John and others to be mindful that every time we move, everything is magnified on Zoom. But other than that, a very, very professional and enjoyable performance, John. Our speaker number one was Alex with his favourite place in the world. I live down the south coast and I thought he's trying to get in good with the evaluator, but no, he had a story about being bitten. I have been reading a lot lately about speech making, and it always says it's better to be specific than general. So he had the specifics of the South Coast. And he said, I think it was something like it felt like being bitten 10 times. The more we use numbers and specifics, the more our answer comes to life. And I thought that we could really feel the pain, couldn't we? He really took us into that bite. I also want to encourage him to sit back to free up the hands. A tip that I've learnt on Zoom is to tuck your elbows in. So if you tuck your elbows in, you'll find that your hands seem to come up a bit more. You don't sort of wander out here or lose them down here. Tuck your elbows in and you'll find your hands automatically tend to go up on screen. I can't see myself at the moment, but I'm trusting that my hands are in the right place. Also, Mark Brown, the world champion, tells everybody on Zoom, look at the friends behind the lens. And I know it's difficult, but I did notice that Alex sometimes was looking away or looking elsewhere and you lose that connection. But nonetheless, a very, very good, quick and interesting response. Number 3 speaker was Rahul, the favourite pastime. Took us, mind, body and spirit, down to the river. Beautiful descriptions from the chattering birds to the mat by the river. Even the way he felt, he described his emotions of being transported somewhere else. It was a beautifully descriptive response. What I would suggest to him, I know the sunnies are fun and they're part of the theme, but I would have popped them up on my head while I spoke to the friends behind the lens, because it does just put a block between yourself and the speaker. You can always put them back on at the end and give a thumbs up or be funny, but take your sunnies off if you're actually speaking or doing a role. And again, I just want to say that just the arm gestures got a bit lost, but other than that, a beautiful response that took us to a different place. Number 5 was Carol, her favourite summer Aussie food. Straight away she went for the barbecue, and she gave us several examples and several stories that we could all relate to, things like family and friends. She had so much energy, and it's something else I've been learning on Zoom. We've got to have energy on Zoom more than we do face to face. It was in her voice, it was in her storytelling, it was in every part of her answer. She has to just look down though when she's thinking. Sometimes when she's thinking, she's looking down. Just want her to keep that connection with the camera, but a great response. Number 7 was Catherine, her favourite holiday destination, very tongue-in-cheek, didn't get in on the joke at all, stayed serious and told us she likes the lounge room and gave us some pretty good convincing reasons, but she did answer the question, which is important. She eventually suggested Sydney. It was a little bit distracting. There was a lot of strobing on the side from the background. A cheap option for people is get yourself some green fabric and put it up on the wall behind you, and you'll find it helps with the virtual backgrounds a great deal. But a really fun answer and a different take on the question. Thank you very much to John for questions that I think brought out a tremendous variety of answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Louise. Please thank our 8 speakers and our 2 fabulous evaluators for their efforts today. Thank you. And I hand back the meeting to our chairman, Glenn. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for a great effort there and organising a very interesting series of questions and a bit of a challenge for all those that are asked at the last minute to unexpectedly to participate. So thank you for that, and thank you to all the speakers. A great session. Now moving to our grammarian report, and Carol, who came up with the word of the day, which is festive, is going to give us a bit of feedback on the use of that word and also the way we've used the English language throughout this afternoon's session. So over to you, Carol.
Thank you, Chairman Hobbs. So our word of the day was festive or festively, and it was used 8 times. Harini, Mario, and myself used it once. Glenn used it twice, and our winner for today is Peter, who used it 3 times. And that was the word of the day. I'm going to move on to interesting uses of language. So from Rachel, we had, I liked her descriptive imagery, these huge bestial creatures hopping in the garden. I could just imagine the scenery. From Peter, we had, he described his phone as a distraction distillery, which I thought was quite accurate and a clever use of language. Also, his title uses alliteration, stepping stones to success, which was quite catchy. From Harini, I liked how in her opening she said food binds people and holidays bind people and food. I found that a really nice connection to make. And then from John, we had impromptu speaking. It helps you speak off the cuff, and when you're suddenly stuck in the elevator with your manager and suddenly have to come up with something on the spot. And So those are all the interesting uses of language I noticed today, and I'll hand it back to you, Chairman.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you for the observation and the comment on our use of the English language. It's always good to be picked up and encouraged also in how we use it. And I just want to encourage those outside of Australia who do actually speak English down here. I hope you're all understanding what's going on. So the next session we're moving to is check on our listening skills, and that's going to be run by Lana. And I'm looking very excited about this because it's probably a first to actually combine this as a world event using the internet. So over to Lana for this, to explain it to us.
Thank you very much, Glenn. I'm now just going to ask that, so my internet doesn't collapse into a heap, I'm just going to ask that all non-Concord West participants just turn off your video. You will be involved in this next segment. In fact, you'll be competing against all of us. But it's just so I can run the Kahoot without it crashing midway. We've never done it with this many people. Thank you. I'll just wait another second for those videos to tick off. Most of them have gone. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing something called a Kahoot. Essentially, all you'll need is an additional device that has access to the internet. So whether that's an iPad or a phone, and all you'll need to do is type in this web address to play. So I'm just going to get that web address now in the chat if Michael has not already. In the chat to everyone, so we can all go to this link. So you should have all received that link. If you just click on that or type that in, just Kahoot, Kahoot.it into your web browser, you'll be able to open up to a page that I will show you now. So you should be able to see a page like this. So I'm just going to start the game, and what you'll need to do is you'll need to get the pin that's going to come up in a second. So the pin is 1120165. So you just type that number in here, followed by your name. If you can actually put your real name so we can actually identify the winner, that would be great. Bat Marcus, I'm sure we'll know who that is. And we'll just give that a minute or two to get going. So we've got 38 participants so far. I'm just going to give it another minute and then we'll get started. All right, so we'll just wait another few seconds. I've got something in the chat. Yep, thanks Mike for posting that. We'll start at 2:30 sharp. So just quickly about Kahoots, the way we use them at Concord West. So naturally in a face-to-face club, we have something called Big Is, where we'll have questions like, who said that Australia is the greatest place on earth? No one, because we're not that biased towards ourselves. But you'd have something like that, where you'd have questions and everyone would try and leap to answer, and it could get quite aggressive at our club. And, you know, we lob chocolates at each other sometimes, and, you know, we all have public insurance at our clubs anyway. So because we're meeting on Zoom, we had to move this online. So one of the things we decided to do was we decided to use Kahoot, which I have a primary education background. That's what I'm studying at university. And this is what we use to engage the kids. And we found that even people like John get really into it. So Michael's just told you all that we have 1 minute to go before we start the quiz. I can see that people still are joining. Now, the way this quiz works is, just so for those of you who have not played, just to show you a quick image. So you will get a question on my screen. So you'll need to look at my screen to answer. And on your screen, you will have something like this. So the question will be here. This is on my screen. You'll have the different options. And whichever the correct answer is, so if the correct answer is sampling frame, you'd press the red button on your device. Okay, so this sort of thing will appear on my device. and the red the 4 icons will appear on yours. It'll make perfect sense when we get started, which we will now. We've got 70, that's enough. We'll get started. The aim is to answer as quickly as possible and as accurately as possible. First question. Which animal featured prominently in Rachel's speech? Cane toads, wombats, echidnas, or crocodiles? Good work. So 39 people got that correct, which is the majority. Congratulations. And the top of our leaderboard is Mario. He answered the quickest. Next question. Australia became a nation in what year? 1920, 1901, 1855, 1955. Wow, same number. 1901, that's correct. That's correct. Mario is still in the lead. Excellent work, Mario. Next question. Who used to cook every day? Harini, Kate, John, or Carol? Good, very good. We all paid attention to that speech. Congratulations, Harini. And we have a new leader, Michael Fenton. I wonder if being the Zoom host gives you an unfair advantage. Next question. What will Hani do during his first Australian summer? Prepare a barbecue, host a picnic, visit Tasmania, or go swimming in his local river? Excellent. Visit Tasmania, which is a very, very nice place to visit for those who have been. I think they can all testify to that. Michael's still in the lead, although Alex Lee is catching up. Rachel said that swimming pools aren't a luxury. They are a fundamental human right, a necessity, a prerequisite, a requirement. Excellent work, everyone. 42 people said the correct word, necessity. Although we would argue maybe that it is a fundamental human right. What is the title of Rachel's speech? Flo and Joe appear at Christmas, Joe brings Flo to Christmas, Joe and Flo come for Christmas, and Flo invites Joe to Christmas. Wow, a little bit of a tongue twister. Yes, Joe and Flo come for Christmas, not appear at Christmas, which a lot of people picked. And we have a new leader, Louise Beaton, our Facebook admin for the district. Good on you, Louise. Who said that success begins with a dream? Peter's best friend Adam, Peter's mentor, Peter's wife, or Peter's boss? Excellent. Most of you got that one correct. Good job, everyone. Yes, Peter, I'm not sure if he has a best friend, Adam. That may be a coincidence, but I made that up when I made the quiz. Louise is still on top. What is the current population of Australia? Mario mentioned this. Yes, that's correct. 32 million, not 2.5. 2.5, wow, they think we're so small. No, 25.5 million, that's correct. And Louise is still on top. Is anyone going to be able to topple her? What is the word of the day? Question 9 of 12. Cheery, jolly, festive, merry. Excellent work, everyone. Very, very high percentage on that. Question 10. According to Peter, Winston Churchill said that failure is not frustrating, fatal, forever, flashy. Correct, fatal. That is a very famous quote, although that's true, it isn't always forever. Or we'd like to hope at least. And we have a new leader, Anne from Concord West, our timer. Second last question. Who used the word of the day the most today? John, Philip, Glenn, or Peter? That's correct. Peter used the word the most today. Congratulations, Peter. And our final question. So Carol's now on top. She's shocked, but that's okay. Good on you, Carol. Our final question. How many children does Harini have? 1, 2, 13, or 7? Excellent. Harini has 49 people said she has 2 children. 2 people said she has 13 children. Good God, poor Harini. Excellent. We're now going to have the podium, and then I'll just chat a little bit afterwards before handing back. In third place, Pete and Kate, a team effort. 12 out of 12, Melody. And our quickest and our winner, Carol, one of our new members. Congratulations, Carol. And we had Anne, our timer, as well as our runner-up. Congratulations. I'm now just going to talk briefly on what we just did. I hope you all enjoyed that and had a great time participating. It's really easy to use, and we invite you all to use it in your clubs. Back to you, Chairman Glenn. Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you, Lana. Well, that's certainly a new development in Toastmasters only in the last year or two. So it's great to do that, and thank you. As I said before, I think it's just amazing that around the world we have people participating and we could all enjoy it. No matter what time zone you're in, you're equally represented and equally able to play. So now to give us a bit of an overview of how today's afternoon session's gone is Melody. And Melody's going to speak to us now for a little while. So over to you, Melody.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is it really near the end of the 2 hours? Can I please have more big year questions, Lana, please, so I can actually finally beat Carol? I actually do enjoy the fact that all of our meeting participants from Concord West and also District 70 dressed up for the spirit of summer holiday theme with a shade of yellow or green, although more yellow I can see. And you all look fabulous and very vibrant, I have to say. I can also really sense the festivities and jolliness from each and every one of you from your screen. Even though from Philip's lovely boat and the Sydney Harbour, we know it's not so sunny outside like a typical Australian summer. But summer holidays is always in our hearts, on our mind, and in front of all of our screens for the past 2 hours. Also, I'm very pleased to see that our Australian Wi-Fi and network was robust enough to make it work. I also love the fact that all of the transition of the meeting went so smoothly. It was a somewhat unusual meeting with a few guests from outside of our club, which I'll touch on a bit later, and a lot more participants and observers from around the world. I know how much that must have happened really behind the scene with a lot of meticulous planning and coordinations to be involved to make it happen, down to the Zoom time, the Zoom master pinning us, actually highlighting us, and so we can all enjoy the meeting, switching on and off the videos and chat throughout the meeting. So well done for all of us who are involved in the planning, and for every participant to really make this meeting a very enjoyable experience for all of us. How can it be improved or more effectively? To be honest, it was so well-run meeting that I feel like anything I mention will be just nitpicking. So I'll just mention one thing. I'd love to see more interactive sessions with so many global audiences and participants with us today. Maybe turn to Did You Know session into a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game show. And I'd love to actually have more challenging questions, bigger questions, so we could actually connect more with our global audiences. And now I'm just going to probably try to do some lightning around to see if I can cover every part in a sentence or two. So wish me luck. Our sergeants and Vivek, very punctual and firm to kick off the meeting and also bring us back to meeting on time. Our lovely president's opening was full of energy as always and make us feel welcomed. Our chairman Glenn kept this meeting running very efficiently and brought humor along with him as well. Our grammarian Carol, I believe the first timer doing it. Carol, very well prepared and such a great listener. And obviously you're a great listener to win the Big Year Champion. So well done, Carol. Our Toastmaster Kate warmly welcomed all speakers and also gave us a bit of background for speakers. Those introductions really brought us closer to the speakers and their prepared speeches. All of our three speech evaluators, Philip, Sonia, and Alex, are fantastic experienced evaluators from our very own club. Very well-constructed evaluations. They brought us back to the three wonderful speeches again, provided positive, encouraging, and constructive feedback so we could all improve together and learn something new. Did you know session, Mario had a very strong mission to let us know a little bit more about Australia, all in just 2 minutes. And I have to say, mission was very well accomplished. A brilliant idea during the break session to show that summer holiday in Australia has to offer to the world. So waiting for that day to open. Vivek did a relevant and passionate toast to health and freedom, really reminded us what's really important this year. Our table topics masters, John, like what Louise mentioned, he's a master of table topics session himself. Very professional and ultimate way of actually showcasing how a table topics session is conducted. I would also say that a great ambassador for Tourism Australia when the border is actually opened back up again. And our special guest evaluators from our district, Lou and Michael, I think it's really fair to say that it's so refreshing to have experienced speakers like Lou and Michael from our district to give us evaluations. They brought really fresh ideas and suggestions to our club and showed us a terrific example of what is to be done with such a strong delivery and valuable feedbacks to a challenging role like this. Lastly, big years, always great fun. And this session really brought that friendly competitiveness to all of us. So thanks, Lana, for really initiating and introducing this awesome concept online so that we could actually win without gaining calories from all the chocolates. So to sum it up, it was such a lively and fun-filled special meeting celebrating these upcoming holidays. Congratulations to everyone involved and participated. I hope all of our global audience had a great time and enjoyed some summer fun as well. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Melody. It's not easy to sum up nearly 2-hour meeting in just 5 minutes or so and to cover all the aspects of it. And Melody did that, and it's a great task you did. Thank you, and providing some very useful feedback. So thank you, Melody. Moving now to another difficult task, but one which needs to be done diligently and which is critical to Toastmasters and ensuring that our meetings keep to time and guiding us into how we speak, and certainly in competition is critical. So moving to Anne Sunny now, she's going to give us a timers report. So over to you, Anne.
Thank you, Glenn. So in the prepared speeches section, the first speaker was Rachel Lawson, and the timing was 6 minutes, 20 seconds. The second speaker was Peter Crosby, and his speech was 7 minutes, 25 seconds. Harini Sundaramurthy was the third speaker, and her timing is 7 minutes, 18 seconds. Coming to the prepared speech evaluations, Alex Thomas, who was the first evaluator, took 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Philip Bendai, who was the second evaluator, took 3 minutes, 15 seconds. And Sonia Dhanka, who was the third evaluator, took 2 minutes, 40 seconds. In table topics section, most of the 8 speakers were sticking to the allocated time, except for 2 people who were just a little bit over time. And regarding the evaluations of table topics, the events evaluator was Michael Fenton. He took 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And the odds evaluator, who was Louise Beaton, she took 3 minutes and 50 seconds for the evaluations. All other sections were well within the time. Thank you. Back to you, Glenn.
Thank you, Anne. Now we're moving up to getting close to the end now with the forward planning. Can I ask all of you, the observers especially, all of you, to turn on your videos, please? If you can please, observers and all, turn on your videos. They've been off for most of the meeting. And now I'm going to hand over to Lana for this forward planning session. So over to you, Lana.
Thank you very much, Glenn. I must say you've done an absolutely fantabulous job as our chairman, and I'd like to congratulate you on doing such great work for the club.
That's good fun.
So forward planning. Now, normally we wouldn't include this, but this is just our Concord West's open invitation to all of you to attend our next meeting, which is the 15th of December, 7 p.m. Sydney time. Because there are so many people from so many different corners of the world, I couldn't put it in all the time zones. But in the chat, I have just posted now my personal email, where you can email me if you'd like further information about anything Australia related or not, and our website link and our Facebook, where if you want to join us, we'd love to have you again. And if you wouldn't mind putting in the chat, some of you have already, but just your feedback on the meeting, we'd love to know where you're all from and so on. So I'd really encourage you all to come to our end of year celebration on the 15th of December. Thank you so much for attending our meeting, and it's been a wonderful time with you all. Back to you, Glenn.
Thank you. Thank you, Lana. Well, this is going to the end. It's moving north towards John and his closing remarks. If I can ask Harini and also Lana to please remain unmuted. And I think John's going to just have a bit of discussion with you as we move towards that end. So over to you, John.
Thank you very much, Chairman Glenn. And I just want to spend a little bit of a time interviewing our club president and club VPE, because I think all Toastmasters around the world will appreciate the strains and stresses that are being placed on our leadership team, and particularly our president and our VPE at this particular time with the issue of COVID and meeting online. So I'd just like to ask, first of all, our club president, Harini. Harini, what for you has been probably the biggest challenge of dealing with the COVID-19 in running a club?
Thank you, John. What's the most difficult things running a club during this difficult time is the technology, because we don't have a face-to-face meeting at the moment. We run all the meetings through Zoom. One way is good to connect and keep motivated our team. And the second thing is sometimes the technology not helping us to, keep us on toes. It's a little bit hard, but as a team, the main thing is keep connected with your team and try to improve your membership and try to fulfill what your member wants. And in our club, we have a dedicated mentoring group. We assign individual mentor to every single member who have joined our club to keep supported them. So my advice during this pandemic time is stay together, support each other, and grow your club. Back to you, John.
Thank you very much, Harini. Now, we all know that the VPE really has the most challenging job in the Toastmaster hierarchy. And Lana has been a relatively new member of our club and has only been in Toastmasters for probably just under 2 years, 3 years. And her contribution in terms of the way in which our club meets, the agenda that's driven, and preparation for things like today or contests has been fabulous. So, Lana, I'd like to ask you, what would you see as being the way to transition out of online meetings so that we can get back to face-to-face? And you might like to give us a bit of background also about our club growth. Thank you, Lana.
Thank you, John. Such a curly question. I think we're all struggling with how to transition back to face-to-face. In Australia, we're lucky enough that we don't have that many COVID cases at the moment. Obviously, you know, some places in the world can't say the same, unfortunately. But our government is quite cautious. And at the moment, at our current venue, we had a capacity until a very short while ago of 12 people. Just 12. And our club has grown from 14 to 28, almost 20, sorry, 28, then back to 27 members now. So we've actually experienced monumental growth. So we couldn't actually go back to our venue. We've now got 24 people as a capacity in our old venue. So it's just going to be a matter of surveying the members. Do they want to go back? Do they not want to go back? Are they feeling secure? Maybe we might try some experiments with hybrid meetings. We haven't had that experience yet. Some members have visited other clubs where they've had that opportunity, but we haven't run our own trial yet. But I think the main thing also is we don't want to sacrifice the quality of our meetings. And a lot of members, like one of our evaluators in particular, their jobs have been moved permanently online. So what they require now in terms of their development is very different to what they did when they were working more face-to-face. So it's just going to be a balancing act. I don't have an actual plan for you at the moment. We sort of do that kind of thing as an executive together, but those are my 2 cents. Thanks, John.
Thank you very much, Lana. And just a question for either one of you. What do you think has been really the primary driver behind the growth of our club in this particularly difficult time? Either one of you could answer that. Yes, Irene.
I'll go ahead.
A simple thing, John. Just engage with your member, listen to them, what they want to achieve, and support as much as you can. The main thing is support and guidance to keep your members come onto your club every week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you both very much indeed. Well, as I bring to a close this meeting and send our greetings, let me just give you a little bit of background. Concord West Club was chartered in 1962, one of the very earliest clubs established in Australia. We're located in a suburb of Sydney called Concord, within a council precinct called the City of Canada Bay. It's approximately 9 kilometres directly west of the central business district of Sydney, on the southern shores of the Parramatta River, just before it becomes our magnificent Sydney Harbour. As such, we are one of the most northern edge areas in District 70, part of Phillip Division, which covers the entirety, District 70 covers the entirety of southern New South Wales from the Parramatta River to the Victorian border, including our national capital of Canberra, in an area that's just under 230,000 square kilometres. It's a big area to cover. Concord is one of the greenest suburbs of Sydney, boasting more area devoted to parks, sports fields and golf clubs than most other areas of Sydney. Concord has a significant heritage in the early development of the city of Sydney, just over 230 years ago, which no doubt makes us the newest and possibly the youngest community taking part in today's Toastmaster Marathon. However, prior to European settlement in 1788, the area on which we meet was occupied by the Wongal clan, who called themselves the Eora, meaning the people. And it's estimated that they occupied this beautiful area for over 10,000 years. It was later called Yarrala, which means campsite, very fittingly in the native Koori dialect. We are bordered on the east and west side of our area by two of Australia's largest and newest urban development areas, where old industrial sites have been transformed into medium and high density luxury living. This has resulted in a huge injection of new immigration into our area, providing a rich diversity of ethnic and cultural backgrounds, which is noticeably reflected in the demographic of our club membership. Concord West has been fortunate to have grown its membership throughout the COVID period. Having met almost weekly since March, we now have 32% of our membership who have never experienced a face-to-face Toastmaster meeting, but they are all well on their way in their Pathways journey. We even now have new fully paid up members still currently based overseas, all of which is really exciting and a great credit to our club executive team. Can I just ask our club executive members just to put your hands up so that we can acknowledge you? Our club members, if you just put your hands up who are on the district executive. Wonderful, thank you very much. So on behalf of our club president, Harini, the club executive, and all the members of the Concord West Toastmaster Club, we would like to thank you all for being a part of this very special meeting. We also wish to thank our District Director, Lorinda Logarage, DTM, and the District 70 executive, many of whom are in attendance with us today, for their fabulous support in nominating Concord West Club for this auspicious opportunity. We would also like to thank those Toastmasters all around the globe who together have made this historic event possible, and we wish all the clubs yet to be convened over the next 20 hours all the very best with your meetings and presentations. Finally, we extend our warmest greetings to our fellow Toastmasters in Malaysia as we pass back from here in the Southern Hemisphere to the rest of the world, from our beautiful, warm summer holidays in Australia, where the temperature today is just a little cooler than usual, but we have had a couple of 41-degree days in the last week or so. So, wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and g'day. Selamat tinggal hari Malaysia.